Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in this video is actually get that the images working per the plan that I came up with in the previous lesson, and then we're going to turn our attention to getting the actual GPS coordinates for our device, whether we're running on desktop or more likely scenario of running on running on a phone or a smaller device. Okay, so to begin with, what I'm going to do is actually just copy this folder of weather assets. You can see that I have essentially a copy. I've used the names, the exact names that they used on their icon list, and I just have a graphic designer I know create some cute weather icons so that, again, they're royalty free. And now I can use these in my app. So I'm just going to drag the weather folder up. Had that same issue we had last time, that pesky issue. So let's go ahead and just select everything, drag and drop. It's going to say, hey, it's already there. Yes. Copy it. Okay, great. So now all I need to do is I need to instead of pulling these icons from Open Weather Map, instead what I'm going to do is just change this URL. Just get rid of that, and whenever you're going to access local resources and you need a URI, you use the prefix ms-appx : and then 3/, like so. Okay, so that will say, hey, look in the assets folder, look in the weather subfolder, and look for that that 3 alphanumeric character name for the file. And if I named everything correctly, and I think I did, then we should see different icons used. So let's go and run the application again. And let's go ahead and hey, how cool is that? All right, so that was the easy part. Let's move on, and now let's talk about utilizing the location capability of the device that we're working with. So in order to utilize some sensor or some hardware feature of the platform you're running on, you have to declare a capability. And you do that in the package.apex manifest. So let's open it up and let's go to capabilities and say I want the location capability. And you'll notice how this manifests itself the very first time that we run the application here locally on this on my desktop, but then also the first time that we actually try to run it in a phone emulator, the message that we'll get. It'll have to be approved by the end user before we can actually use it. Now, there's a lot to using this the features that I'm going to show you right now. However, what I recommend is that you actually search for this article. I didn't create a shortcut, but just search for Windows 10 get current location. All right, you should come to this page in the Windows Dev Center, and this will give you code that you can use to check the current status and whether you're going to be allowed to actually utilize that capability, and if not, it'll report back that you cannot use it. So there's a lot of extra code in here that is really a safety net for your application. You can also respond to updates. So while the phone, while you currently have it and you're running and you're on the move, you're driving, you may want the location to be updated in real time, and in which case you could implement all this additional code to make that happen. We're going to take the simplest possible scenario, and so some of what I'm going to write here in a moment is just taking from kind of this right here and ignoring a lot of the complexity that would be needed for a more full-featured application. So to make this work, what I'm going to do is actually add another class called the location manager, and it's going to abstract away a lot of the complexity of working with the GPS or the location features of Windows 10. So I'm going to call this location manager, and make this a public class, and we're going to go ahead and create a public static, let's call it void for the moment, but I know I'm going to return something in a moment, called get position. Great. And what I'm going to do is, okay, and so what we're going to do, and let me get rid of the webcam here so you can see the whole screen. Let me move this over. So we're going to do some heavy-duty coding here. Okay, what we need to work with is something called the geolocator. It's going to give us everything we need. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, geolocator is not found. I'm going to hit Control period in order to add a using statement to Windows devices geolocation. Great, and there's a method called get, or actually request access async, and what this will just do is say, hey, can I get access to the geolocator? Will it give me a latitude and longitude if I actually ask for it? So it's going to return back to me a status. So we're going to call this access status equals, and we see the async keyword, and so I know we're going to have to add the await there, and I know that I'm going to have to add the async keyword here, and I know that I'm going to have to return something here. Currently it's void. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Alright, so the only status that I'm really concerned about is there's a geolocation status, geolocations access status dot allowed. If it's denied or unspecified, then that means we're not going to have any luck. So if the access status is not equal to allowed, then I'm going to throw a new exception. I probably should take more care here and create a custom exception and be able to pass back what the issue is, but I'm just going to go ahead and croak, just have the application die. Again, that's something I need to come back and make a little more elegant and test that in the future. But assuming that everything is okay, then we're going to continue on here, and I'm going to get an access to an instance of the geolocator. So let's just go geolocator equals new geolocator, and I'm going to use the object initializer syntax to set the desired accuracy in meters. I'm just going to set it to 0, meaning, hey, give me what you can. I could specify and say, hey, I would prefer if it was 1 meter accuracy, 10 meters, 100 meters, but this will just set it to the default value, which is give me whatever you can give me. Okay. Now that I have all that work done, I'm going to get a position, and I'm going to say geolocator get the geoposition async, and then I'm going to return that position. Now the position object will be of type geoposition. So there's a geoposition object. Let's go ahead and get rid of void. And what I need to do is to return a task, which is a promise that in the future I promise to give you a geoposition. It doesn't seem to like that, but I think, let's see. Oh, right. It doesn't like it because I forgot the await keyword. There we go. Great. So that should be all we need to do to get the current position. Once we have that position, so let's go var position equals, and we'll call the location manager dot get position. And I know that this too is awaitable. So we'll hit await. And now that we have that, we should be able to do something like this. In the get weather, let's go position dot coordinate dot latitude, and then position dot coordinate dot longitude. Now it's giving me some green squigglies. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, it's obsolete. Yeah, I ran into this before. The issue here is that they thought that it might be unavailable after Windows 8.1, but I was unable to find what they're replacing it with in 10. I didn't see anything. In fact, I found this code, this very code, in the Windows 10 documentation. So it might be something they just haven't gotten to quite yet. You might have a completely different experience. Just be aware that the direction I'm leading you here, this could be obsoleted in the future, and you may have to change that line of code. Okay, but for now, this is what we got. All right, so now let's just set a breakpoint here because I want to see it actually get to this spot. Now notice when I clicked the Get Weather button, I asked for access to the location feature of my local computer, and it says, do you want it to access your location? And I can go to the settings app if I want to modify it later, but for now I'm going to say yes. So now that I've given it access, it's going to go ahead and try to figure out what the position is. I'm going to hover my mouse cursor over, and it looks like I'm 32.98 and longitude -96, so that looks good. And let's go ahead and run it. Dallas County 78, light rain. Very good. Okay, so we're in good shape there. What I want to do is stop the video right here, and I want to come back to this because I want to test this on the phone in the phone emulator and change my position around the country and see what it would look like if I was running this from Seattle or from New York or from Chicago, and so I can really test that functionality out, and the phone emulator has a great feature that will allow us to do that. So we'll look at that in the very next video. Okay, we'll see you there. Thanks.